Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and today I am live in Santa Monica, California at AI Vibes. This is an amazing event. Tal Navarro and her team put on a spectacular event, and I caught up with Tatiana DeMaria, who was on one of the panels earlier, and I was like, I gotta have her on the show. So first off, Tatiana, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's an enjoyable event, some great speakers. So it's been great so far. Thanks for Tal for putting it on.
Oh, amazing. And what was your panel about?
It was about AI and creativity, but specifically in music. So AI and music in general.
But what did you get out of it? Like for the audience that couldn't make it and that are watching this at home next year, but what did you get out of it?
Well, I think what anyone from the public could get out of it is a variety of things, because right now, today, people are very, very focused on generative AI. So, for example, OpenAI came out with large language model, kind of an infrastructure that a lot of companies could then say, we can generate a lot of assets in any kind of industry based on this particular model, right? So we can generate thousands of images, we can generate movies, we can generate music, we can generate content from existing content out in the world. And so that's been such a large focus, and thousands of AI companies came out based on this one model saying, we can now do this. Yeah. And so it's very, very fragmented. Our company takes a very different approach. So I founded a company called Supafanatix, and what we do is we use AI, we use generative AI, but we use predictive AI and generative AI, not to generate content off ready existing content, because it's great. Yes, we do some of that on the back end. Yeah. But a lot of the generative AI is an enhancement, so it can make things easier to source. It can make, if you're a movie or you have videos on YouTube, or you're creating content and you want library music and you want it to match the emotion, you want it to follow visuals, great. That can help you source it. So there's a lot of great uses for it. But at the same time, we have a music industry that has massive fucking problems. Yeah. And so our focus is less sort of on this enhancement and more on the problem solving, which to us is much more needed just in terms of our passion and where we like to focus. So what a lot of people don't realize is that music artists are the most engaged with celebrities on planet Earth. Yeah. They have a lot of viable assets to sell, and they have fans wanting to connect with them, wanting to buy, wanting to come to their shows. Yet 99.8% of professional musicians earn less than $50,000 a year. And so most of your favorite musicians are broke, and people don't realize this. They're like, you have 100,000 followers on Instagram or 1 million followers. Yeah. And the reason is because right now, these musicians have to become full-time entrepreneurs, full-time content creators, fight algorithms every day, manage 15 different apps. Oh my gosh. To reach their audience. Yeah. And so, yes, social media has made everything more accessible. But now what you have is musicians who, every musician that might be professional is on the exact same platform and exact same playing field as anyone in their bedroom who wants to sing on camera, which is fine. That's great. I love that there's that exposure. Yeah. But when you're actually trying to monetize and live, and you have an audience, you have 100,000 followers on Instagram, you have real followers, you have people that love your music, but you can't connect to them because the algorithm on Instagram is only showing you to 1% of your audience. How do you actually monetize? And you're like, but I have all these things to sell. Yeah. And I know my fans want them, but I'll put out a new single and 99% of my fans will have no idea I've released it. They won't know I'm playing in their city. And so I have to constantly be posting. And even then I might reach 10% of my audience. So musicians today now have become full-time entrepreneurs, full-time content creators. They have no more time left to write. They're very stressed about, I have to go viral because I have to reach billions of plays. Billions of people. Yeah. Just to get billions, I have to reach billions of people to get millions of streams, to make thousands of dollars. And so that's a huge undertaking, trying to have everyone on earth see your stuff just to generate thousands of dollars. And that's because, for example, we know that Spotify, this is a gross approximation, but for 1 million plays, we'll pay approximately $3,000. And so if you're an artist that is splitting that with co-writers, producers, your management,
gets thin real quick.
And it might take you 3 months to generate 1 million plays. Yeah. So you're like, in 3 months, because people will say, why don't you hire a team then to manage you, do all of this? And I'm like, well, a manager doesn't necessarily want to work full time for 3 months, wait for you to get to 1 million plays to generate $150. So there's a very, very broken system that doesn't actually need to be that broken. And so I've been an artist and a professional musician my whole life.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky. Some background, I guess, when I was 15, I wrote my first album, 15, 16, and I had 2 charting singles in the UK. But I was independent, so I owned my music and I owned my rights. And so I went on tour and I was managing the business, and I had a manager very young. I learned a lot. And then he retired from management, and as a teenager, I kept managing and kept building. And so I did the Warped Tour in the US, which I love. It was a fun tour. It was the first time I did it. And I'm like, I just made $100,000 in 2 months on the Warped Tour, yet this label is offering me $100,000 to own my music and my rights in perpetuity. And I was like, hang on a second, what if I just built this as my business and owned my rights and had that freedom, so I wasn't beholden to a label structure, or, you know,
For sure.
What's very common is you'll record an album, but we won't release it unless, as Halsey was saying today very publicly or a year ago, I've sold whatever it was, 100 million albums, or I can't remember it, so don't quote me on that. She sold a lot of records, millions of albums, but her label is saying, we're not going to release your new single unless you have a viral or you fake a viral moment on TikTok. And so even the labels, even the big institutions are beholden to social media attention because, again, everyone is in this archaic model of you need to reach billions of people to generate any income. So what we do is we flip it. You don't need to reach billions of people to generate income. You could take the 1,000 True Fans model, have 1,000 fans spending $100 on you in a year and make $100,000. And musicians are not making that. So what we do is we've built predictive AI and AI tech over the last 6 years, but we have an extensive background with my co-founder on data analytics and behavior. And so we combine that with my experience in Web3. So I've been in Web3 and blockchain for over a decade now. And we've basically built a platform that essentially allows musicians to wake up in the morning, be who they are, create their music, and we help them 10x their income by empowering and optimizing their business with our tech and our expertise over the years. And we do that leveraging predictive and generative AI and also blockchain. And we do that because we also have a fundamental belief that music helps heal. It is so important for people. It's important for the creators. And being very passionate about music and also being a musician myself, musicians are in pain. They're stressed, they're struggling to survive, and the music we're hearing is changing to music designed to go viral out of desperation to make money, instead of artists feeling like they can create what they want to create. Because if they do that today, there is a very high risk of them just not making any income, and they feel that stress. So if we can help fix that, 10x your income across your whole business as a musician, not just the music. We focus on every aspect of your business as a musician. If we can help make that simple for you, then that's our way of having impact in the world for the better. Again, everybody has their own way. That's ours.
Now, you had that early influence of your manager. It might even been before this, so I don't want to superimpose this. But did you consider yourself like entrepreneurial pretty young on, even outside of just being a musician? I'm just curious. Were you? And did that interest you, like business, just in general?
Yeah.
Because your platform, and I'll tell you why I ask you, by the way, your platform's amazing, and not everybody has that drive, or not, and I don't mean drive, because it's not a trade-off. It doesn't, I'm not trying to pass a judgment one way or the other, but some people just don't have that part. They don't want to do it for whatever reason. Not judging, but your platform solves that. So I'm just curious, like, did you have that early on, like the business side? Like you just were interested or curious, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a young age, for me, my core driver is freedom. And when I was very young, I was underage, I was 15, 16, and I was promoting nightclubs in England. And I would have, the highest end nightclubs at the time. And so I would get, $10 for anyone I brought to the nightclub. And so I would bring 80 people.
So you were hustling. That's amazing.
Just like, okay, let's go. And so what was really cool was I never thought of it as entrepreneurial. I think I just had a desire to have financial freedom at a young age. And I would just do what seemed logical. And so I think that's always kind of just been my approach, whether it's a bit dogmatic or not. It's just, I want that. That seems to make sense. Let's go for it. And then I was very lucky to meet that manager and meet various people that I learned from along the way. And I think that I've then spent 17 years in the music industry frustrated. So I was very lucky to have my dreams come true, touch wood, and tour and have the charting singles and have audience and keep my freedom and actually have complete creative control over my career. But the more things move to online, MySpace shuts down, so you lose your audience. And then you're now online and you're going, okay, Facebook managing, and you realize that your entire day-to-day is filled with managing online apps. And I'm like, I haven't fucking made music in 2 months. And and I know that I'm more used to doing that than a lot of my musician friends who are like...
So imagine, like, now you have this new thing, it's like learning TikTok. I'm not going to compare it to an instrument, but you have a new type of instrument like that you have to learn. Not.
Well, actually, I love that you bring that up, because I think a huge misconception today that people have. So I accidentally went viral making crypto content in the pandemic because I was killing Hangouts explaining blockchain to my friends. It became really boring really fast. So I was like, I'll put this online.
That's good.
And people can watch, right?
Yeah.
And it went viral, and I became a content creator in crypto. And the life doing that is vastly different to being a musician online. So there's a lot of businesses going, we're creating tools for the content creator, and they lump musicians in with that. And I'm
not the same.
It is vastly different.
Not the same.
And so we look at it and we go, that's a very broken model. So yes, there are things that musicians can benefit from, but actually it can also stifle the musician more. And what tech has a tendency of doing is tech that solves one problem can exacerbate another problem in another part of their industry. And so you have a lot of tech companies doing one thing. We're generating images, we're generating music, we're generating this, we're helping you with that. Patreon will help you monetize your $8 a month, But so you now have 50,000 apps to get through your day, 50,000 different ways of using it. And these are ways for businesses to launch and get an exit. And that's great, except I think my focus is, because I was immersed in having to do all of these things every day, I manually set up structures that I could get through my day. And before I was using tech, automate these things myself so I could run the entire business like I would want a fully fledged label, generate marketing income, and at the same time be a musician. And it was tremendous pressure, but by building those processes, we then started building tech around those processes. And we co-founded with my co-founder, Diona McFatter, who's brilliant. We started building tech and building AI tech and building blockchain tech to go, how can I wake up in the morning and all this entire business that I've built, how can I automate that? How can I have it be authenticated and secure using blockchain? So simply put, a musician can come to our platform, and we're not live yet, but we have some clients and we're rolling out soon. Our priority wasn't to rush to market.
In since this will be out there forever, it's evergreen. And in 2024, are we saying? Just so that
in a few months we're rolling out.
So when you listen to this, go check it out either way. Go check it out either way.
And so we're excited to put that out there. And I've completely spaced on the point I was trying to make. I hope it didn't suck. I know what I was going to say.
Go.
So essentially, an artist can come to our platform and tell us what they want to achieve. And so if, for example, pick a goal, I want to generate $100,000. Me as an artist, I want to make $100,000. That's my goal. What our platform will be able to do is tell you exactly what you need to do to achieve that, exactly how you need to achieve that, and then help you automate that. So musicians can achieve their outcome. And so we use AI to help people, to help musicians get through the stuff. Again, when people say, just hire a team, it's very hard to find. So musicians can feel stuck. Okay, we'll help you there. So it's almost like a business in a box in a way, where we've been doing this for a long, long time and have really tailored this to this market. A lot of our tech has been validated with us doing this kind of thing with brands like Colgate and Samsung and in different industries, and Pandora Jewelry. And so we've brought all our tech to the music industry, and we've built extensively to cover an artist's business in its entirety. So that's, like everyone, I think the best we can do is build, and everything comes down to execution. Everything comes down to, what you've really built. And so I'm really proud of our models. I'm really excited as a musician, and I just
I'm excited that it was built by a musician, because I've looked at I mean I've never been a musician myself, but when I moved to LA, I'm from Michigan originally, but when I moved to LA, a lot of my friends were musicians, and I would see I've always been the suit and tie guy, and I've always been, if I was involved in something creatively, it's usually like as a producer or something, the business part of it, right? They drag me into stuff, right? But when I think about it, like, I wasn't the right person, nor did I wanted to help them, so I would help them, but I won't say I didn't want to do it, but in all reality, like, I didn't have any experience, I just know business. So if we had something like Supafanatix back then it's like they wouldn't have had to like stretch their skill set. And I saw the genuine pain, and that's why, like, not imposing this on you, but it's genuine pain that I saw them going through when they had to start figuring out these other things. And I'll speak for them, not you, but it took away from their creativity. It took away from their music.
100%.
It took away from, like, every minute they had to start thinking about how to use a phone to stream was a minute that they weren't writing a song, or they weren't like pouring out their heart or getting into whatever process they had to get into in order to do it. You don't, because you can't switch back and forth. It's not like,
exactly.
let me do a post real quick, okay, and now I'm gonna write, or let me do this. Like, there's a mood, there's a vibe, so you're pouring out your soul, like, so you don't get to jump back and forth from that. Technology can be a barrier.
It actually is a barrier in the sense that, we can say you need the vibe, but it's actually a lot more than that. Our brains do not work to shift from analytical to creative like that. And so when you say every minute lost is vital, it's also every ounce of energy lost. Because
gosh, yes.
And on top of that, it's something artists don't necessarily do natively. You're in a creative mindset. And this is why so many businesses, advertising, you have the creative team and you have the team managing the creative process. That doesn't mean the managers can't jump over and be very creative. It's just in that moment, even if you think about, it's different when you think about, do not edit while you're creating. Create, then come and edit. So I think that a lot of the time, people underestimate how much energy and the stress. You also, your brain does not function well and cannot get into a creative flow when you're stressed. So what we're doing is creating very stressful states for musicians and then saying, now create. And what's happening is they're feeling even more stifled because then they're like,
it's hard enough to create music and create something people want to listen to in the first place. Like, that's a miracle in itself, to start with a blank slate and create something that people actually want to hear and that strikes a chord for whatever they're aiming for. That's hard enough. Like, I would, if I had to like be behind this mic right now and create something like that. No, I can have a conversation that's different. Very, very different as a creator. If I had to like now create an idea or some music or a piece that I'm going to put the pressure on myself, if that's my process, that I want that song to last, to be remembered, or to move somebody emotionally or physically if they want to dance or anything, that's pressure.
As soon as you include the commercial component.
I'm sweating just thinking of it right now, Tatiana. No.
Well, no, I mean, I think everyone's creative. And I think that wherever someone finds their comfort to express it, if you're like, I'm not a musician, I'm like, hey, we all have, our brains work with the senses. People who have this affinity for taste might end up in the restaurant business. People who have an affinity for sound might end up in music. I have friends that were so visually driven. I'm not, I'm more auditory. So essentially we have that as an outlet, but as soon as you put the commercial piece in and it's survival, we talk about this all day. When you're in fight or flight, you can't then relax and actually channel things in the same way. But I would also say, so as much as everybody's creative, actually as humans, I think that's such an important part of our existence and our wellness. When a banker is at a job being a banker, I'm like, do you want to go into his working hours and be like, I want you to make my music? He's in a completely different headspace. And I'm like, stop asking musicians to be the full-time suit and then say, now make my music, because you're going to get this botched identity. And actually, you're going to have musicians creating cerebrally. And so I think that generative AI is very important. It's showing where the tech can go, and there's a lot of use cases we can have. So there's great things there too. But creating from a prompt is not as healing as playing an instrument. And so just for the creator's well-being, that process of creating cerebrally, I want to hear this kind of thing. Now, AI can generate it and you can feel it, but it is very, very different and creates a very different fabric in society when people are cerebrally creating versus emotionally creating. So all the AI, I think AI is going to help us tremendously with survival, with just survival as a species. But at the same time, the jump to AI is much greater, in my opinion, than the jump from Neanderthal to Homo sapien. We have an entire reimagination of our species. And so the future, in my opinion, will be survival of the fittest. And we will not be the fittest unless at this point, with combining humans with AI, we are able to kind of envision that and create another path for ourselves. And so anyway, all of this to say that there's tremendous pros in AI, but it really is what we're going to feed it, how we're going to train it, and the use cases. And I just think that there's a lot of problems that can be solved. That's where we like to focus. And I think currently there's a lot of AI that is looking to sort of be a company that has one lane. We can do this, sell and move on. And I think we have to be mindful that there's short-term AI, which is very useful, and long-term AI, which we need to have a longer vision on.
Amazing. I think that's a great way to end it. This has been absolutely amazing, Tatiana. I want you to look into the camera, tell everybody where they can follow you, you're listening to your music, Supafanatix. How do they get updates for that? Like how do people connect?
Yeah, so Supafanatix, Supafanatix. We are actually having a bit of a rebrand coming, so it's supafanatix.com for now. But to keep up with any of that, you can follow me on any socials at Tatiana DeMaria. And for anyone who's interested in blockchain, well, no, let's just keep it to Tatiana DeMaria. Easiest place. I respond to messages online. But thanks for having me. Appreciate the conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
And your insight on your musician friends. I think a lot of people out there have musician friends that struggle. So it's really nice to hear that. And thank you for sharing.
Thank you. And for everybody that's listening, hey, if you haven't done it yet, this is your invitation. Hit that subscribe button. We have many more amazing guests coming up for you. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're putting out new content, and we don't want you to miss a thing, so hit that subscribe.